Every year, as fireworks light up the American sky on the 4th of July, millions gather outside to celebrate. Families crowd onto blankets, kids wave glow sticks, and couples look upward, waiting for the next explosion of red, white, and blue. It's a time of pride, a time of celebration, but for some, it becomes a time of confusion, of fear, because somewhere between the rocket's red glare and the quiet hush that follows a grand finale, something else is up there, something that doesn't belong. Across decades, in states from coast to coast, people have looked up on July 4th and seen more than fireworks. They've reported glowing orbs, silent triangular crafts, saucer-shaped discs hovering just beyond the clouds, lights that zigzag and vanish in an instant. And these aren't just internet rumors or wild campfire tales. Many of these sightings are backed by official police reports, FAA logs, and national UFO databases. So what is it about the 4th of July that brings them out? Is it just coincidence? Is it mass misidentification? Or is it something else? Let's begin with one of the strangest cases, New Jersey, July 4th, 2009. The sky was unusually clear that evening in Hamilton, a quiet suburban town. As families gathered for the annual fireworks display, a group of residents noticed something strange. At first, it looked like part of the show, a bright red orb hovering low above the trees. But it didn't explode, it didn't flicker, it just hovered, silently. Then, it started to move. Witnesses described it as gliding across the sky with an eerie smoothness. It wasn't following the wind, it wasn't moving like a plane or a drone. It stopped, turned, then ascended rapidly before vanishing into the night. Over 50 separate reports were submitted to the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, that night. Some claimed to have seen 2 or 3 orbs, sometimes flying in formation. Others mentioned flashing lights and weird humming sounds. Police officers on patrol even radioed in about the sightings, unsure whether to treat them as a prank or something more serious. No explanation was ever given. The FAA reported no unusual aircraft in the area, no experimental flights, no military exercises, just silence. And this wasn't an isolated incident. There is more. California, July 4th, 2001. A man named Henry Cortez had taken his children out to watch the fireworks in a nearby park. Around 9:30 p.m., just after the final burst of color faded from the sky, his youngest daughter pointed up and asked, "What's that?" Hovering high above them, barely visible at first, was a dark triangular object. It had 3 glowing lights on each point and a faint red pulse in the center. Henry described it as massive, like the size of a football field. It didn't make a sound, just floated there. Then it started moving slowly to the north. He wasn't the only one who saw it. Dozens of calls flooded local news stations. Some described the craft as a giant black shadow that blocked out stars. Others claimed to see multiple objects moving in a coordinated pattern. Local authorities said it was likely a group of drones or helicopters. But drone technology in 2001 was still in its infancy, and no known helicopters fly in complete silence. Henry's story gained attention when he filed a formal report with MUFON and provided a rough sketch of what he saw. His drawing matched nearly a dozen others submitted that night from different parts of the city, people who didn't know each other, people with no reason to lie. And they all described the same thing, a massive black triangle, silent, watching. Fast forward to Phoenix, Arizona, July 4th, 2015. A woman named Jamie Holbrook was driving home from a fireworks display when she noticed something strange in the rearview mirror. A flickering light, not like a firework, not like a plane. She pulled over and stepped out of the car. What she saw made her freeze. Above the desert hills, a cluster of 5 glowing orange spheres floated in the sky. They were arranged in a loose V formation and hovered in total silence. Suddenly, one of them shot upward, so fast it vanished in the blink of an eye. Then, another moved sideways, defying gravity. She pulled out her phone and recorded what she could. The video, later posted online, shows lights that do not behave like aircraft. No sound, no trails, no clear explanation. The lights eventually faded out, one by one. Local news ran the story. The Air Force Base nearby denied having anything in the air at the time. The National Weather Service said there were no weather balloons launched. FAA radar picked up nothing unusual. Jamie still has nightmares about what she saw, not because she thinks they were aliens, but because she doesn't know what they were. And that unknown is the scariest part. Even back in 1982, before the internet or cell phones, similar sightings were reported. In Ohio, on July 4th, dozens of families enjoying a picnic at the reservoir saw strange lights dancing across the lake. They were described as jellyfish-like, glowing red and blue, hovering just feet above the water before disappearing. Several independent witnesses even drew sketches showing identical shapes. Nothing was ever proven. The case went cold. But some of the original witnesses, now in their 60s, still talk about it, still wonder. But why July 4th? Why does this holiday of all days seem to trigger a wave of sightings? One theory is simple. More people are looking at the sky. More eyes mean more chances to spot something unusual. But that doesn't explain the patterns, the specific shapes, the synchronized movements, the silence. Others believe that the noise of fireworks may mask the presence of low-flying objects, that the commotion offers a kind of cover, an opportunity. Some even suggest that these entities, whoever or whatever they are, come to observe us during times of mass celebration, to watch how we gather, how we react, how we behave. It's unsettling to consider that, while we celebrate our independence, someone might be watching, someone not of this world, or perhaps not from this time. Let's not forget, Chicago, July 4th, 2017. Two friends were walking near Lake Michigan, trying to catch a good view of the fireworks over Navy Pier. They never expected to see anything unusual. But as they looked up, one of them noticed something odd against the cloudy sky. It looked like a bat, at first, but it was too big, far too big, and its wings didn't flap, they glided. It flew overhead, silent, dark, and massive. They described it as a man-sized moth. Red glowing eyes, no face. They weren't alone. Multiple reports came in that night describing the same thing, what some now believe to be the so-called Chicago Mothman, a winged humanoid seen throughout the city in the years leading up to 2017. The fact that one of these sightings occurred on July 4th only adds to the unease. Why would a creature like that appear during fireworks? What was it doing there? We don't know. The National UFO Reporting Center, NUFORC, has noticed a spike in reported sightings every 4th of July. Some are likely misidentified drones or fireworks, yes, but not all of them. Some can't be explained, and it's not just individuals. Police officers, pilots, and even military personnel have reported strange encounters during July 4th celebrations. In some cases, air traffic controllers have confirmed radar anomalies that match the timing and location of visual sightings. One retired FAA employee even stated anonymously that they used to dread the 4th of July, not because of air traffic, but because of the volume of unexplained radar hits they would get, often in rural areas where no flights were scheduled. It's easy to dismiss a single story, or even a dozen, but hundreds, over decades, that becomes harder to ignore. And maybe that's why these sightings stick with us, because they happen when we're least expecting them, when we're relaxed, celebrating, laughing, looking up at fireworks, and realizing the sky holds more than just smoke and sparks. Sometimes, it holds something watching back. So next time you're watching the sky on the 4th of July, take a second look, not at the fireworks, but just beyond them, where the stars blink and sometimes don't.